Everyone, and welcome to our live stream. We are live on the Formula Botanica Facebook page and on the Formula Botanica YouTube channel, and it is lovely to have you with us. So as ever, please do leave us a comment, post up in the chat, and tell us where you are in the world, because I always love seeing all the countries represented for this wonderful indie and green beauty movement that we lead. So I'm Lorraine. I run Formula Botanica. We are the online organic cosmetic formulation school. We have 14,656 students. That's my very specific counter. And we're in the whole world, basically. We have students in almost 180 countries. And we are the leading online platform for anyone who wants to learn how to formulate. But today we're not here to talk about us. We're here to talk to Melinda Coss. And if you joined us on Clubhouse last night, you'll have heard our very special live stream where we talked about Melinda's key strategies for growing your beauty brand. And I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself in a minute, Melinda, so we can hear all about your background and why we should be listening to you on how to grow your beauty brand, because I know you have some fantastic advice to share with everyone today. So I'm going to be asking Melinda a few questions to get us started, and I'm looking for some audience participation. So if you want advice on how to grow your beauty brand, if you haven't started yet, or if you have started, or well, we'll come to that in a minute, drop us a line, ask your question, and I will put it live to Melinda. So this is your one chance to come and ask more. And we're going to be talking about a very special program that Melinda has set up as well for beauty brand founders. The link is already below me here, but we'll talk more about that later on. So over to you, Melinda. Can you introduce yourself and tell us more about your background and everything that you do?
Hi. Yes, absolutely. Hello, everyone. Thanks for popping in on our afternoon chat. So I'm Melinda Coss, and I have been mentoring skincare entrepreneurs for almost 20 years now. And my role is actually to take them from kitchen sink right through to international distribution, to hold their hand through all the stages. And the reason that I'm qualified to do that was because quite a few years back, I started a soap business in my kitchen and went on to create a brand which was for sale in all the it was the biggest handmade soap company in the UK. But so people benefit from the mistakes that I made, and I've coached over 200 entrepreneurs now. So you also benefit from the mistakes they made along the way.
I love it. And I can vouch for this as well, because Melinda has worked with so many Formula Botanica graduates, and I have watched you help them create fantastic businesses all over the world. And it's always exciting to see the work you do. And I always love hearing about it, because that one-on-one touch is what so many beauty brand founders need when they first get started. So let's dive straight in then. And the first question I have for you then is, what are the steps that you should take if you have something, you have this idea that you're really passionate about and you want to turn it into a business? What should you be doing?
Okay, so all the skincare entrepreneurs that come to me with a passion, absolutely, with something that they've learned to formulate through you, and they're totally into the creative process of formulating, and they want to give back. But often they haven't asked themselves basic questions. And if you don't get these questions right, you're not starting from a solid foundation, and you're going to have some issues along the way. So the questions are basically, I'm getting really old. I've got a prompt sheet here. So the first question that you've got to ask is, why would anyone buy your product? So what is special and different about your products? Because you do need a differentiator in what's become a hugely crowded market. The second question is, who are you going to sell the products to, and how? So you have to start with an idea of your route to market and your end user. And, people come into this often with a sort of vague idea that they're going to sell to gift shops or they're going to sell online, but they haven't actually sat down and nailed who and how they're going to reach them. And the third question is, how am I going to find the funds to fund this business? Because all businesses need funding. I mean, it's a dream to think, well, you can do it, but it might take you 20 years. You need to be able to, I do the analogy of a business being like a baby. So you start off right at the beginning with the conception, and that's the fun bit and the creative bit and the passion and the mess and all that stuff that I've forgotten about. And then you have a toddler on your hands, or this human being on your hands, and ultimately you have to socialize that human being. And then you have to let go and allow that kid to go to school and let other people get involved in its life. You have to let go. And all these relate to your business, because you have to delegate. You can't build a business on your own. You have to learn as you go along to some degree. So and also, I think the most important thing of that analogy is when you have a baby that you're passionate about, you don't let go, you don't quit. You stay with it, and you have to have that same drive to really succeed in business these days.
Yes, I love the analogy. And as I said to you on Clubhouse last night, obviously the sleep deprivation fits within there as well. Very much so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we hear from a lot of people that they're scared to start. I've heard this over and over and over the years. We were running rooms on Clubhouse, and it was almost as if people were sort of waiting for us to give them permission to get started, because they're so reluctant to say, okay, my products are finished. Okay, I'm happy with my brand. And I'm sure there are people who will be watching us live or who will watch us on the replay who feel that way too. What would you advise those people?
Well, I think this is going to take a lot of effort and a lot of money, and a lot of energy. So I think the first thing you have to ask yourself is, why do I want to do this? And you need to have a good answer for that. I mean, I was talking to a client today, and business development, actually what goes along with that is personal development, because you grow in confidence as your business grows. But I think if you have a strong enough motivation for doing it, then that motivation will be bigger than the fear. But we're all frightened. We don't know what we don't know. So you need to get help with it. You need to recognize what you don't know and be prepared to get help with it. But yeah, it's about the passion that drives you forward, I think.
Absolutely. It's interesting because earlier today I was interviewing Sarah Brown from Pi Skincare for
Yes.
the Formula Botanica podcast, and she said exactly the same. You need to have that passion, that focus. She talks a lot about focus as well, and that real purpose in what you're
Yes.
doing. And I think those three questions you asked, would anyone buy my products? Who am I going to sell this to? Can I afford to do this? They seem like such simple questions when you first get started. And you're like, well, of course I know how to answer those. But actually, you really need to sit down and spend time with them. You're so right. So
yeah, I mean, I think we overcomplicate things. When we decide that we want to do this, we get into all the courses, my courses, your courses, everybody's courses, all the information that's out there. And it feels like this huge, massive work that we've got to do. And of course, it is a lot of work. But ultimately, you've got to keep focused on your end game. You've got to have a vision that you're going for. You've got to take action. Taking action is key, and you've got to be real. This is not a fluffy journey. Business is not a fluffy journey. Business is about making money. And I think the other thing is, a lot of entrepreneurs do this because they'll say, because I want to give back, or I want to give a bit to charity or whatever. And that's great. But if you don't build a sustainable business by acknowledging and following all the correct business procedures, you're not going to have anything to give to anyone, or it's going to burn out really quickly. Whereas if you've got something solid, it empowers you to actually make a difference in a much bigger way. So, there's a time for everything. So get the basics right, and then
absolutely
develop it, and then think what you can do with your money, which is what Anita Roddick did. Actually, she didn't start the Body Shop with some huge philanthropic idea. It developed as she went along, and when she could afford to do it.
Fantastic advice. And I hope everyone's paying attention to this, because it is often about just going deep within yourself to figure out why you're doing what you're doing, but also to build something that is sustainable, as you say, which also involves making money, which is something that I know a lot of skincare entrepreneurs struggle with. This concept of money, it's a little bit grubby, But as you say, if you're not making money, you won't be in business in 3 years' time. And that is not sustainable either, because then you won't have a business.
But yeah, but
Well,
I also find it I also find this fear around money, or this embarrassment around money, really perplexing, because actually, if you don't spend money, it doesn't circulate. And if it doesn't circulate, the people that need it don't get. If you buy things, people are being paid to make those things. So there's a whole, it's actually the hanging on to it and hanging on to your security that does more damage in the world than actually going out and spending, she
ooh.
says. Thinking of that new Chanel jacket I plan to buy.
I love it. So what's the biggest sort of mistake that you see a lot of beauty brand founders make? Because I know you've obviously coached and mentored hundreds of them, but you've worked and seen so many more than that. What's the big thing
Yeah.
that you see them often do wrong?
Okay, so they do everything. They get to their brand together. They launch. They've got money coming in to begin with, because they've told everybody, all their friends and family, and everybody's excited to buy from them. And then they feel like they've hit a brick wall. They feel like they've done absolutely everything. They're on social media all day long. They're on paper, it all looks right, but they're not getting the response that they need. And that's often because they've got into bad habits, or they haven't got their profit lines right, or they haven't planned properly for who they're going to sell it to, which was that question right at the beginning, and how they're going to do it. So I think they get stuck, and then they lose enthusiasm, and the whole thing can cave in on itself, or create a really stressful experience. And your business is your life. It's where you're going to spend most of your time. And it has to be something that you can carry that enthusiasm that you've got with you into it. So they get stuck. They often get stuck, and they don't know what to do. That's the big issue. They don't have a strategy to get themselves out of those situations.
And what should they do to get themselves out of those situations then?
Well, they have to. I mean, the other thing is that they're spending their time being busy. They think the first thing that they think about when things aren't selling is, oh, I better create more product, which is completely wrong, because you need to absolutely stretch the sales potential of the products that you've got before you introduce a new product. And this is a really common mistake. Oh, that's not selling, I'll make something new. Financially, it's crazy. So they need to, where was I? They need to do that, and they need to be able to take a bird's eye view. So they need to stop being busy. It's very easy to be busy. You can think of a million things to do, but you have to ask yourself, should I be doing this now? Is this really going to take my business forward? And I'm famous for the sort of follow the money slogan, and that's really what you should do when you're in that overwhelm. Well, what of these tasks on my enormous to-do list will take me nearer to profit? So they need to take time, and they need to be able to take a bird's eye view of their processes, how they're spending their time, how they're spending their money, how they, taking up opportunities, how they're networking. I mean, there's a million, which is why I've put this program that I'm going to tell you about a little later together, because it's quite difficult to stand back. And I have an experienced eye, and I can actually see what's going on. So I thought it would be a really useful program to offer.
Absolutely. And I think it's something a lot of people need. And, when you said this on Clubhouse last night as well, that you've watched so many people launch more products when they hit a roadblock. I see this all the time, and it drives me insane, because I'm sat there going, you have this brand, you have this business, you have these lovely products. Go and hustle, go and sell them, go and make some money with it. Why are you launching more? Why are you doing this? But it seems to be an easy way out in some respects, although it's
Yeah.
not easy.
It's not easy, but it's enjoyable. It's why they came into this. It's where their passion lies, in the making and the creating of the products. But actually, marketing can be hugely creative, and also the buzz you get from opening an important door and getting your products in there, better than that, and being seen in the press and being talked about, that is far more exciting, I think. I mean, it's not about the money. It's not even about the money. It's about creating something that is really workable. And well, you've been through this. I mean, come on, you can talk about this better than I can. How does it feel to have turned Formula Botanica from a little rag bag into what it is today?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, it's the most exhilarating thing I've ever done, apart from obviously giving birth twice to real humans. But no, it's incredible. And I have to say, I find marketing the most exciting thing that I do at Formula Botanica. I can talk for hours about digital marketing, and I can talk for a long time about the ingredients as well. But the marketing is so much fun, and you've got to lose yourself in it.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that people do is they have a really narrow view of how to sell or who to sell to. They have really limited ideas of, I'll sell online or gift shops. I mean, there are a million places out there now. We can reach the world. There's a million ways into the market. And you need to explore them all before you create your next product.
Yeah. I completely agree. Well, great advice, everyone. I hope you're listening to this. Now, what I would love to ask you to do is post up in the chat and tell us where you are on your journey. So post up about to start if you're about to start your business, started if you've already started your business, or over 1 year in if you're already more than 1 year into your business. I'd love to see you come past in the chat. So tell me about to start, started, or over 1 year in. And we'll have a look in a minute to see what feedback we've had. But we've had some questions coming in already. So I'm going to put some up on the screen and we'll run through these. And if you have a question, post it up. We're here live right now to answer them. So jump in if you want to know how to grow your beauty brand. So the first one's coming from Ken, our partner manager, who was on Clubhouse with us last night. And he says, with so many products in the market, do you think it's still easily possible to create a differentiator? Great question, Ken.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, what's so beautiful about niche marketing, which is what a differentiator usually means, is that you can reach so many people that even the narrowest concept, you're going to, if you've got, I don't know, I think of it, if you've got a green face, you've got a green face, you're creating products for someone with a green face, you are going to find millions of people online that have got that issue, that their skin has got a green hue. I don't know, I'm being silly there, but it's not, because of the way we can reach the market now. You need to be special to a few people rather than mediocre to a lot of people. And also that helps you avoid, you can create a really, really strong message. And that helps you with the competition that's out there from the big brands. You can avoid that completely.
Yeah, it's so true. And saying that, there are still some fairly big niches out there as well. Like I was reading an article the other day about menopausal skincare.
Yes.
It's only just now becoming a thing.
Yes.
Whereas, 1 billion women worldwide are over the age of 50. 1 billion. Yeah. I mean, that's not even a small pond. That is, a very substantial part of the human population. And that entire segment has been overlooked by the beauty industry up until now. Yeah. And now they're finally going for it. But you're right. There are so many different niches out there. And every single person says to me, I'm going to make skincare for women in their 30s, busy women in their 30s, because that's what they are. And that's not a differentiator anymore.
Or women with eczema, women suffering from it. That's the other one. Yeah, my kid had eczema, so I went into you've got to be clever with this. You need the imagination. But that's kind of where I come in, because what I also run a branding program, which isn't what I'm here to talk about. But in that program, I look at the whole human being, the whole situation, and come up with something that fits. And often it's very easy to be too close to what's going on, to be able to take an objective view and to see something for what it is.
Yeah, that's very true. Let me just read out some of the results we've had in for our little poll on the spot. We've had a lot of people say about to start. Some people said I'm not even close to starting. Arcana says it started last month. Michelle says over 1 year. over 1 year, beginning stages, about to start, almost 1 year in. So it's a bit,
Yeah.
a lot of about to start, lots of 1 year in. So I think, about to start comes back a lot. So I've got another question here from Rove, which I think is a great question. Should my product solve a problem that other products couldn't solve? It's really very difficult to come up with something that presumably he wants to put out into the world to sell.
If you can come up with something that solves a problem that other products can't solve, you're definitely onto a complete winner. But it may well be that you come up with something that not many people, an issue that not many brands are trying to solve, and you do it in a different way, or you talk to a slightly, different age group that also have that problem. So you've got to, in that situation, I would look at, I mean, I had clients come to me who have created products for tattoos, oils and products to heal tattoos. And you can go at that, you can go at that from the high art end, you can go at that from the sort of motorbike end. There's a group of people that you need to be able to talk to in their language. This is what I meant by you only need a really small niche in order to do well, because you will find if you wanted to go for bikers who had tattoos, there are millions of them out there, absolutely millions, but you have to talk in their language to actually inspire them and reach them and make them want to buy your products. So does that answer the question? So the answer is yes, if you can, but go even further than that and go for a group of people that are of a particular type or age group, particular demographic.
Be a big fish in a small pond rather than a small fish in a big pond. Okay, another question in. The questions are coming in now. It's fantastic. Please do post them up, and we're going to talk a little bit about Melinda's program in a minute as well at halftime. Okay, another one from Ken. Thank you, Ken. Oh no, actually, this one is the one I wanted. If I can't afford to do this, but I still want to do it, is that enough of a motivator to make it happen? Can you hustle your way through the lack of cash?
It doesn't have to be. I would always advise people not to work with their own money. So if you don't have to have that money in your pocket or your savings account or be, putting yourself highly at risk, what you have to have is enough confidence in your product and enough drive to go out and raise the money that you need. I think it's really difficult to start in a situation where you're working from nothing and you're not looking to actually raise money, because it will take you a very, very long time to get there. And somebody may well have done the same thing by the time you do. But I think this is where you've got to sort of put your big girl's knickers on and say, okay, I know this is going to work. I'm going to need to get out there and I'm going to need to raise the money to do it. And you've got to convince people to give you the money.
There you go. Good advice. Don't spend your own money. Spend someone else's. Let's see. We've got another question in from Aradana, who says, how do you know that it's not the product that's stopping your business from moving forward? Interesting question. I like this one. What if the problem is really with the product? How should one identify this? I think that's a great question, because I see this being one of the key reasons that people don't start their brand as well, because they're so worried about whether their product is good enough or not. And then, of course, they launch and they're still second guessing the product. So what's your advice to this, Melinda?
Well, I want to assume here that you've been through a Formula Botanica course and that your products are absolutely safe and sound. So I'm going to make that assumption here. Over and beyond that, it isn't your product that will create your business. It's your message and your branding and your marketing and your ability to run a business. So it's not good. It's very rarely, unless there's something, unless it turns your skin blue or it brings people out in a rash, it's not the product that's driving the business. It's you as an entrepreneur who's driving the business. So that isn't something that I mean, presumably, if you had lousy products, you wouldn't want to start a business with them anyway.
Good point. Absolutely. You have to be the driving force behind what you do. You have to live and breathe it. As you say at the beginning, I like the analogy with, it's like having a child, because in some respects it's felt that way to me for the last decade as well. It's like you're looking after your baby and getting them to grow up. And yeah, you're right, it isn't necessarily even about the product, as long as it's legally compliant and you're happy with it. Let's see, more questions coming in. Please do keep them coming, everyone. These are fantastic questions. Archana, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. What do you think about existing, new and future brands all trying to market on social media? We've got another question about social media coming up as well. Let's start with that one, and we'll come to the saturation question in a minute.
Okay, well, there's 6.4 billion people out there. What do you want? You've got to be more inventive. You've got to be more original. You've got to think. This is why I was saying, Lorraine was saying as well, that how exciting marketing is, because getting it right as to how you put yourself out there is going to govern whether or not you succeed or fail. So yes, it's a crowded market, but if you think of the earlier days, you might have had to sell to a little shop, or you might have had to invest in a little shop yourself in order to sell, and then you only had your local community. That limiting. Now you've got the world. It's really hard to visualize just how many people are out there. And I don't know, do you know the percentage of women that use skincare products, Lorraine?
Probably almost everyone.
Well,
the average woman has 16 skincare products on her bathroom shelf. So multiply that by, where are we? 3.5 billion. You're good.
And when I created because I raised money for my soap business, and when I created the business plan, my first sentence was 80% of the world use soap, the rest just remain to be persuaded. And that's what I went into pitch to investors with, because and that was pre-internet days. So now you can actually reach that last 20%, or how many people do you need to sell to make enough money? Not very many in the overall view of things.
Absolutely. And what I would add on social media, because I know that a lot of people really struggle with this, and we've got another question coming up actually from let me just put this up actually, and we'll come back to Arcana's question. Is it Dulce? I'm not good with names this afternoon. I'm so sorry. Says, how can I sell my products without having to deal with social media? And what I would just like to say to that is, social media, whilst it has many failings, let's all admit it, we know it, it is also such an amazing opportunity to the world. As Melinda says, you can reach billions of people. The problem I think a lot of people have is that they feel overwhelmed by having to create all this content for it. And that's where you've got to start viewing that as part of your business. It is part of how you operate nowadays, because people want to connect with you as the founder. And this is the other thing, of course, we see all the time, and I'm sure you've seen this everywhere. No one wants to be visible. They want to just put up a photo of their balms, and they don't want anyone to look at them. But social media is a necessary evil nowadays, if we can call it that. It has to be part of how you operate. And I presume, I don't know, do you see any of your clients succeed without social media?
No, I don't think I do. I mean, look, that you could be inventive. You could. It depends how ambitious you are and what a building a business means to you in terms of how much money you want to earn from it. But there are people like Ben and Jerry's who built a local business based on local ingredients, and actually there is a strong strong reason to create something local these days, because with the climate change and all the ecological issues, you might well be able to build something on that ticket, and that will involve you walking the streets and doing local, well, not not in that way, but doing local events. But you have to be social. Whether you're going to do it online or whether you're going to talk to people face to face, you have to be social. The difference with social media is you've only got to say it once and you can hit billions of people. When you're running around shops, you're talking to one shop owner, and it's the same conversation and the same time that it takes you.
And the other thing I would say is, you all have opinions, and I see so many business owners who are terrified of putting their opinions out there. They don't like to ruffle feathers. They don't really want to be that visible. We see it with the Formula Botanica graduates. Some of them will launch a brand and we'll go, right, tell us when you launch. We'll take part in your launch. If you give us, a month's notice, a couple of weeks' notice, we'll get it on social media. And often they won't tell us because they don't actually want that level of attention. And I sit there with my head in my hands going, we have 105,000 followers on Instagram. We could instantly send hundreds of people your way, and you don't want this because you're so scared of the attention that you'll get as a result of it.
And you shouldn't be running a business. You shouldn't be
You-
running a business.
Yeah, you have to put yourself out there. And if you have opinions, then that will get you somewhere. Like I put something up on my Instagram channel yesterday about COP26 and sustainability and beauty. And I was fairly opinionated in it. And some people aren't going to like it at all. But I've had such a tidal wave of feedback from people going, I love this. And that's perfect because those are the right people. And you need to be operating that way as well and put yourself in there too. So coming back to this other question that I just skipped over, do you think the skincare space will reach saturation in a few years?
Well, do you think the soap space will reach saturation? I mean, everybody uses skincare. We've just worked out that everybody, and why do they use it? They use it because they want to attract partners. They use it. I'm doing this in sense of priority as I see it. It might not be everybody will agree with me. They use it because they want to be healthy. They use it because they want to live forever and be beautiful. These are real, but this is marketing. This is advertising. These are principles that have gone on for years, and they all exist around skincare. So do you think people are ever going to stop wanting those things?
No. I think it will reduce because I think people will start to look for more multi-purpose, longer lasting products. But I think the indie sector is very well positioned to cater for that need. And that's really exciting because I think, as usual, the big brands are going to take decades to catch up with this mindset shift that we're seeing in consumer conscious consumerism. So yeah, I don't see it reaching saturation anytime soon either. We're at halftime, so I'm going to talk about your product, your new skincare audit, or I'm going to ask you to talk about it actually. So you've got this tell us what it is, this new program.
Okay, so my passion is working one-to-one with people and to really get the opportunity to dig deep into them as entrepreneurs and their businesses. So this is my little glittery star that I've been given, is that I'm quite good at this when I can see things from a great, usually a unique point of view. So I've created this program called Skincare Business Audit. And it's primarily for people that have started their businesses. They've gone, they've done all the busyness. They've got their trademark or branding or whatever. And they've just put it out there and they're not getting the responses or the sales that they thought they would. And what I've done here is I've created a really in-depth questionnaire that drills down on all the aspects of your business, how you spend your money, how you spend your time from day to day. And if you buy the program, you get the questionnaire. The questionnaire will make you analyze all your processes. So it could take you, it's not huge, but it could take you a week to fill in. You send that back to me, and then we have an hour's talk, live one-to-one talk about your business. I'm going to have a week to look at to analyze it. And then we meet up and we have an hour's talk. And then during that session, we're also going to write you out a 6-month plan, because I'm going to actually identify all the things that you're focusing on that you shouldn't be, and all the things that you're doing right as well. And we're going to make your business strong and actually turn it into profit, turn it into the business that you dreamed it would be. Because I can stand back and I'm in the wonderful position of getting a really clear perspective, and I have the experience to do that as well. Then you're going to get 3 months free membership of my private membership, the Fast Track to Success group. And that is where you'll find a group of entrepreneurs in a similar situation to mastermind with. You're going to get Q&A sessions with me. You can book 20-minute one-to-one sessions with me, and you get access to a lot of interviews that I've done with experts on particular topics. So you'll get 3 months with me following the questionnaire, and that's the program.
And the link for that, obviously I put it here on the screen, that isn't clickable, but the clickable link is with us on Facebook, and I think it might be with us on YouTube, but if not, we will be adding that in shortly. So click on that link and go and have a look. And I can tell you, this is invaluable. Having someone with Melinda's track record and her ability to sort of laser focus, zoom in on what the issue is, you just don't get this from anyone else. And I watch so many people flail about and not quite know what to do, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. Having someone with Melinda's experience come in and look at what you're doing and where you could improve, you can't even really put a price on that, because it could completely change your business. And I know some of you have said, I'm already 1 year in, I'm still struggling a little bit. I even saw someone say, oh, I'm so glad I heard you say that. I was about to add more products to my range. You know, if you find yourself in that situation, you're going to need to be able to take a step back, and having someone to hold your hand during that process, that is priceless. So I would very much recommend you go and click on that link and have a really good look at it and have a think about how this could fit in with your beauty brand if you have one. Let's go back to a few more questions. So let me put a few more up. Aradana, another great question. How large scale should someone start initially? How many products? How much of manufacturing before social media, online selling? I did see someone, by the way, comment and say that Formula Botanica recommends 5. We don't recommend any particular type, but we do recommend that you keep it small. So I just wanted to nip that one in the bud before that gains legs. But how large should someone start when they first get started, Melinda?
How much money have you got, and is it your money or someone else's? Look, you can be as powerful with one product. You need to, you're restricting your route to market, because one product is really, if you're just going to launch with one hero product, that's really internet, because the shops usually want a range of products. But you can do just as well with one product as you can with a range of 20. And it's a lot less aggravation. So I usually say, well, absolute maximum 5. 1 to 3 is good. And it depends how you're going to present it. I mean, is this going to be a regime that needs 3 products? Don't stick to products for a particular part of the body. So it might be facial products, it might be bath products, it might be hand products, hand and nail products. So again, that helps to create some sort of niche for you. But the more that you can crystallize your range and your message, the stronger your proposition is going to be, and the most likely it is to get itself heard.
Yeah. Okay, good advice. I'm scrolling through all the questions here, so sorry if I'm just sort of off the screen here. If you have any questions, now is your chance to post them up, because we'll be here for another 20 minutes or so. So please do keep them coming. I'm seeing lots come in, so thank you very much for taking part. This one's come in from Amy on how do you build brand awareness? That is a very big question, but maybe you can condense down your top tips there, Melinda.
Again, it's through original marketing. I think a mistake that people make is they often look and see what everybody else is doing in the industry. So, and they think that they need to be like that, and they think that they need to look like that, and they think that they need to talk in the same way. Whereas if you look at other products in other industries, you can get some really original ideas that you can click onto your brand, and it will be noticed because it will be different. So it's just such a big question, you know. This is a branding question. Have a look at my branding program at melindacoss.com. That will give you some ideas.
Excellent. And what I would add, Amy, is you really need to understand your brand to the tiniest detail. So I have this at Formula Botanica. Generally, the team will come to me and say, what about this? What about this? And I'll go, no, yes, no, tweak that, you know, because I live and breathe the brand, and you need to be in that position too. And once you live and breathe the brand, you will know what fits well with it. from our perspective, a lot of the early days, I built community around it because that really helped that brand awareness get out further. And I was interviewing a skincare entrepreneur the other day, Sarah Taylor from Pomoja. I don't know if you've worked with her, Melinda, but she's got this fabulous brand here in the UK. And she was saying that when she first started, she started a skincare group just for friends and family, just to sort of launch her brand. And she said that skincare group has grown and grown now here on Facebook. Oh, if you're watching us on Facebook, sorry for those of you on YouTube. And she said she still uses that group to get feedback on new product launches, and people get really excited about it. And it's all about community, branding, content. The whole thing fits together, and it's something that you have to live and breathe. But as Melinda said, go check out her branding program as well, because I've seen the transformation that she achieves with people, and it's magnificent to watch.
Sorry, somebody's just asked, this is Kaesha, is asking if I've got a soap training course online. Kaesha, I don't teach people how to make soap. I've written a few books on it that you'll find on Amazon that would teach you that side of it. But I do have a soap maker's business course, a masterclass specifically for people that want to start soap businesses. And you'll find all that at melindacoss.com. You'll see exactly what I've got on offer. But there's been a few soap guys here.
I'll come to those.
I love
don't worry.
soap guys. I love soap guys.
I like this one as well. So this is about the audit that you're offering. Obviously, it's called the skincare audit. But if you have a hair care brand,
skincare business audit, and yes, hair care is fine. Look, cheese biscuits would work the same way. I'm the only reason that I'm restricting this to skincare is because it's my first love. But this is about running a product business. And you see, I take my head out of my head isn't in that creative pot with you. My head is in the business pot. And that's a place where most entrepreneurs find it uncomfortable to be. So I'm I'm not taking all that on board. I'm simply looking at the facts, figures, time, effort, focus, all those sort of things. And that's why it works, because you are so emotionally involved in your business and the creativity around it that it's very, very difficult for you to do that, to take that perspective.
Yeah, very true. Okay, we've got some more questions coming in. This one's from Rua, who's also our cosmetic chemist at Formula Botanica and has a lovely brand called With Hope Candles. And she says, I'm coming up to my first year of running my business. I was failing terribly at social media, so I've just outsourced my social media to a social media manager. But are there any other ways you would recommend to get the product out there?
I find it hard. I stutter over answering that question because I need a lot more information. So I need to know, how big is your range? Who is your range targeted at? What is your production? What can you, how can you scale your production? So are you looking to sell thousands of products, or are you looking to personalize and sell individual products? So it's how you use your social media. If you've got a social media manager, you have to come up with the creative promotional ideas, or the unique things that you can offer around your candles, and then give it to your social media manager to promote for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good advice. Right, let's move on and tackle a few more questions because they're still coming in thick and fast. We've got this from Asia. Is it safe to grow my business based on a product that sells well rather than one that I really like? Is that what you mean, Asia? I hope I've understood that well.
I would go with the one that sells well. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you like your product. The point is, does everybody else like your product? That's what business is.
Yes.
No, it does. Of course, it matters if you like your product, but ultimately, it's about what people want, not what you want to make.
Yeah. And that is something that I know a lot of people really struggle with. It's something we put in our courses as well. Don't just make products to sell that you like. Make sure you go and ask people for advice. But I've watched so many skincare entrepreneurs over the years feel terrified about going to ask for advice because then they think that people will come back and say, I don't like your product. So they would rather launch their products without the feedback and then have the entire world come back and say, I don't like it or not buy. Then ask for that feedback initially. And you, as Melinda said, if you've got something that sells, brilliant. You're in a
Yeah,
fantastic
I mean,
position,
this
aren't
is
you?
the this is the whole thing. Do you want a hobby here where you make things that you like and your friends and family tell them that you like, or do you want to build a business? Because a business is about selling products, and there might be a gap in that. You might see a gap in the market. Is there a market in the gap? Do people actually want the product? You might suddenly decide that you want to do bleaches for nose hair. I don't know. I just created a new idea. Well, you got to know if people actually want that before. You might be passionate about it, but you've got to find out and do your research if people actually want that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
true.
there's some very, very sexy products out there now, all about bottles, which I would have never have dreamed of, but they're selling phenomenally well. I mean, we've got the whole
Bottoms
body
and
we can
things.
look, the whole body we can deal with now as well.
Apparently
Yes.
so. It's very true. I see all
Underarm
sorts of
hair
things going on.
curlers, underarm hair tongs. Yes. No.
You would not believe some of the things we see come past for our students' final assignments occasionally. It sometimes leaves the education team a little bit red-faced, but they power through, which is quite fun. I just want to jump on this one really quickly, and then I'm going to ask. Yeah, then I'm going to come to that one. So this one's from Mermaid on YouTube, who says, what if I have people that like my products, but when I ask them what they look for in a product on social media, they have no answers? I've recently joined social media and trying to engage more. And she follows that up with another post that says, should I continue to post my products and ask no questions? So Mermaid, I want to answer this question for you because I know this very well. What I've found on social media is that people do not generally want to type long answers. They generally don't have very strong opinions on things either. So what you need to do is to ask the binary question. Our most popular post on Instagram, our most popular post on Facebook, let me start with that, was what country do you live in? So anyone can answer that one. And our most popular post on Instagram was, do you prefer your body butters whipped or unwhipped? And you'll see us do this occasionally because it is such a hit every single time. And I always sit back and laugh. I love it because everyone takes part and everyone has a really strong opinion on whether body butter should be whipped or unwhipped. And we've been doing it recently. I've been doing it on my Facebook page on social media as well, just asking questions such as, would you prefer to make a balm or an oil? And when I don't want to use the word dumb it down, but in effect, that is what it is. When you really simplify the question, that's when you're going to get a lot more engagement. If you're asking highbrow questions, which I used to do, and I would get crickets as well, then you're not going to get anywhere with it. So I would look at the questions you're asking and try to make them a lot simpler, make them almost binary so that people scrolling past, they don't have time to sit there and stare at your post for very long. People have very small attention spans nowadays. So work with that. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Melinda. I felt quite passionate about that one.
Only that if you ask people a very simple question, it actually breaks the ice. And once somebody comments, then other people will pile in and comment. But often nobody wants to be the first one to answer a question because they feel embarrassed or stupid or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, simple,
Good advice.
simple, definitely.
Okay, Christina asks, what's the best way to build brand community aside from social media? I'm seeing a trend here in the questions, aren't you, Melinda? People don't want to be on social media. And I do understand, but I'm struggling to see how you're going to build your brand and community without it. But I'd love to hear what you think.
Well, the other thing that I recommend some of my clients to do, depending on what their brand message is to create a Facebook group. An interest group, which has absolutely nothing really to do with the product, but which will appeal to the market that you want to sell it to. Because then you can build a community around you, be it fun or serious or whatever. And then when you launch your products, you've got a ready-made audience because it's really important to get people to like you. to like you and want to buy from you. And if you've got that cracked before you even start, you're going to have a loyal audience for life.
Yeah,
if that
very
helps.
true. Very true. So we're going to be here for another 10 minutes or so. If you have a question, post it up because we'd love to be able to answer your questions live. And I know there's lots of you on live with us on Facebook and on YouTube. So don't be shy. Come and have a chat with us. Melinda, one thing I wanted to ask you was, I see a lot of people launch and then they feel overwhelmed because there's so many, they're wearing so many hats. And I've been in that position. You know, you wear your HR hat, your finance hat, and your marketing hat, and your product development hat, and customer service hat. What advice would you have for someone who feels completely overwhelmed in their business, or maybe even tired of dragging it forward?
Let me give them a tactic. So actually, if you go to my Instagram page, it's just Melinda Coss, you'll find it if you type that in. A couple of days ago, I put up a chart, a priorities chart. And it's basically, I've drawn a flower with petals coming out of it. And each petal is an area of your business that is important. So it might be formulation, that's it, you've got it, yeah. Thank you. Formulation, PR, whatever, all critical parts. And at the beginning of the week, if you go round that circle and you put a number for how important that is to, once again, taking your business forward, driving your business forward. So number them 1 to 10, and then focus on them in the order of their priority. So you're focusing on the things this is what I meant by being busy. You need to focus on the things that are going to take you forward at any given time. So if you've got no money in the bank, you're not selling your products, you've got to come up with a promotion to get some money flowing. That's a critical factor. And just because you've got products to wrap or something else to test or whatever, it put it aside. That's your priority. And it's absolutely, it all comes again in the program. It's about having that really clear strategy for how to move your business forward.
Great advice. Go and look it up. I know the team has put Melinda's Instagram in the comments on YouTube and on Facebook, so they're there, but I've put it up here on the screen as well. Go and follow Melinda. Let's see. We've got this one from the Sultan of Oils, who says, thank you for this amazing
I like
info.
that. A sultana.
I recently founded a small company to extract and sell natural cosmetics oils as raw materials.
Lovely.
Do you have any advice for me? I mean, obviously we're talking about finished products, but there are plenty of people who are selling ingredients as well. What would you advise someone in this position?
You're in Formula Botanica. Everybody that you're meeting in this massive community needs beautiful oils. Get on with it. Reach out. Use the community. Yes. You know, there's a million ways you can sell them. I mean, do they have a purpose? A really good purpose? Is there something about the way they're grown that's unique? You don't have to do, if you've got access to beautiful oils, you don't have to do very much to sell them. You've cut out all the cosmetic scenarios and stuff. There's stuff to go. Buy my program. I'll tell you what to do.
There you go. That's all you need to do is come and work with Melinda. And what about the characteristics that you see of people who are successful with their beauty brands? Are there any sort of overarching characteristics that you see in these beauty brand founders that you would recommend people try and sort of cultivate?
Okay, it's quite interesting because I have several clients who I've watched grow from really shy, because I do a 1-to-1 16-week, my sort of star VIP program, but I've watched them over the course of the 16 weeks go from really reserved, shy, fearful people and turn into these super fierce entrepreneurs who scare the life out of me. You know, it's and I think it's staying power. I think the most important thing is staying power. And also not taking things personally, being able to stand back and not think that because something's not working in your business that it's you that's no good. That's classic. It's you that's it's sometimes that just the way it is. I mean, we mentioned yesterday about hitting obstacles and roadblocks. And to me, they're put there for a great reason, and they're as valuable as your wins because you have to negotiate how you're going to work around them, or what you're going, or the direction that you're going to change to if you hit a roadblock. And that can actually be a huge gift for your business. You know, there's a golden nugget under every rock, and remember that.
And I love that what you said last night as well on Clubhouse. What was it you said about the road being open behind the road? I can't remember. I'm not doing it
I,
justice.
I, 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 I can't remember. Yeah,
It was
it
beautiful.
oh, I'm not. I'm obviously not in my poetic mode right now. No, it's yeah. The road will be wide open for you. It's really is about negotiate. I mean, and if you negotiate your way around a roadblock and you find a solution, because business is often about problem solving. um, and not letting problems floor you, because they can quite easily knock you for six, and you mustn't let that happen. You've got to
Yeah.
find a solution, and when you find that solution, you grow a bit. You grow a bit as an entrepreneur, and you grow a bit personally as well.
Yes.
So roadblocks are there for a reason, and good things, not bad things.
There you go. Every obstacle will get you somewhere. I'm not doing it justice. You had to be there last night, basically. Let's see. One more question, and then I'm going to come back to talk about your lovely new program. This is from Diane, who says, "Lovely talks, brilliant. Thank you so much. Would
All
love
right,
to
you're
hear your
back.
opinion. Are you? Did we lose you? Oh, I don't know if we've lost Melinda.
No,
No,
we're
are
coming.
you there?
I'm here, but it's choppy. It's choppy.
Okay. We'll make the best of it. Diane would love to know if it's possible to scale a business if you make personalized and individual products.
Yes, providing you can get someone else to make them for you. Yeah, I mean, don't do anything, and this is something particularly for the soap makers out there as well. If you know, the soap makers often get completely carried away with these beautiful bars with all the flowers on the top and the stripes in the middle and whatever. If you're starting a business, there is no point making anything that you cannot scale. So there's lots of ways of personalizing a product with printing, buying a, getting a template label and then running it through with different messages on it. There's plenty of ways of doing it, but if it's too personalized, and you can't outsource the manufacture, you could build a lifestyle business, but you're not going to make millions of pounds with it.
Hard-hitting words, but very true. And not everyone wants to, of course, which is
No,
totally fine.
no, absolutely.
You've got to
Which
build a business that makes you happy as well.
Yeah, and goes back to the question of why do you want to do this? Because if you can answer that question, that will help you. You start at the end. How much do I want to earn in my first year? What do I need in order to get me there?
Yeah.
Or maybe what do I have to earn in my first year to survive? I mean, again, I get clients who have no money. Well, no, I don't actually, because they've got to have enough to pay me. Otherwise, I won't take them on. But I get clients that have got major investment. So it's different for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note, I suggest we wrap it up. We've been going for almost an hour. I'm just going to bring back up your program. So let's finish off by talking again about what you're offering, because I'm sure there are some new people who joined us who didn't hear you talk about it earlier. And I think something that everyone needs to listen to, because if you plan to start a business and you already have one, then you generally might need some help, and Melinda's got the program to help you. So can you tell us again what's in it and how it works?
Okay, so it's called the Skincare Business Audit. I designed it initially for people that were a little way into their business. They'd started and they simply weren't making enough money. And what you get is a really in-depth questionnaire that you need to fill in, and you need to do various analysis of what's going on in your business in order to fill it in. You send it to me. I spend a week considering it, and then we have a one-to-one call, and I will have taken a complete bird's eye view of your business. I'll ask you a few more questions, and we will create a 6-month plan for you while we're on the call, to make sure that I get you going towards profit, okay, and get you to stop wasting time on things that you don't realize you're wasting time on. And that it can be very valuable in financial terms as well, because you don't realize how much money you're wasting along with that time. Yeah, and you also get 3 months free membership of my private membership, Fast Track to Success, where you'll be networking with other entrepreneurs who are on the same journey. You'll get live Q&A sessions with me where we're all on screen chatting, mastermind sessions. You'll get the chance to book one-to-one sessions with me, and you'll get access to a lot of really helpful interviews and information. So that comes with the program as well. So it's it's your chance to get an audit from someone who's been doing this for a very long time, and also from someone who's actually been through the growing pains that you're going through. Because I started in my kitchen, and I'm not just talking about this academically. I know the feelings, I know the growth pains. I've actually been through this myself, and I came out the other end very well.
Yes, and I just want to reiterate, this is priceless. Getting someone with Melinda's experience to come in and look at your business from that high level view and be able to zoom in and say, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, this is where you need to improve. This could turn your business into an entirely different business. This could make your business sustainable in the long run. So I very much would encourage everyone to, well, click on that link. I know the team has put it up in the chat on Facebook, and I'm sure they'll put it up on YouTube in a minute. But it's here as well on screen, bit.ly/skincare audit. Go and have a look at it, because honestly, this could be the game changer for you. I regularly have people write to me and go, Lorraine, come and give me free mentorship. And I'm like, well, no, I don't have enough hours in the day. Having someone come and step into your business, that is something that you pay a huge amount for normally. And Melinda's created this program that can absolutely turn things around. So go and check it out. You won't regret it. I have watched Melinda work with so many Formula Botanica graduates over the years, and I know the effect that she's had on their business, the transformation, in fact, that she's had. So go and check it out. So thank you so much, Melinda. What a great chat. It is always fun talking to you. I always love it. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. And I'm glad our internet held out just about.
We made it. Absolutely. And we even
thank
got
you,
to talk
everybody. Yeah,
yes,
thanks everybody
exactly.
for coming to join us. It's wonderful to see everybody.
Yes, thank you so much everyone for taking part. We've had a great show up of people on Facebook and YouTube. Obviously, the replay will be here afterwards. So if you're watching us on the replay, thank you very much for taking part. And yes, we'll be seeing you again soon. I'm sure Melinda will be hanging out on Clubhouse again, I'm very sure soon. And yeah, thank you everyone. Have a great afternoon, great evening, great morning, wherever you are in the world. And we'll be chatting to you again soon. Bye.